So hi everyone. So we'll start our tutorial session. Okay. In the previous tutorials, we have seen the design of laterally supported and unsupported beams. So in this tutorial, we are going to see the design of column base, gusset base one, and the design of the beam column, and another one is a tension field action method. So we'll solve two questions here, and we'll explain the third question so you can solve it later and we can send it back. So we'll see about the tension field action method. Yeah, Jahanat.
No, it is not running yet.
Okay.
In the first problem, we have to check for shear using tension field action method, where maximum moment mz is 5000 kilonewton meter and maximum shear force is 900 kilonewton, and spacing is given as 2000 mm. So first we have to write down all the given details. For Fe 410 grade of steel, Fu is 410 MPa, Fy, Fyp and Fyw is 250 MPa. Poisson's ratio mu is 0.3 and E is 2 into 10 power 5 MP. So epsilon W and epsilon F is root of 250 by Fy, that is 1. So first we have to design for wave and for the flange. So here you can assume D by TW ratio as K equals to 180. So after that, you can find out the optimum depth of wave and optimum thickness of web by these formulas, as D equals to mzk by Fy power 0.33 and Tw is mz by Fy k square by 0.33. So you know mz, k and Fy, you can substitute and get these values. So if you put these values, you will be able to get D as 1424.23 and TW as 8.334 mm. You can just give it a quick check and see if you are getting the same values. If you get, then let us try here as 1400 by 8 mm wave size. After this, we can go for design of flanges, where required area for flanges AF is mz by gamma m naught by Fyd. So you know all the values, you can substitute and get Fy. And here you can assume Bf as 0.3 of the depth of the wave. So Bf you can get as 420 mm. After this, AF by BF, you will get the thickness of the flange. So here you can take it as 450 by 35 mm as flange size. So if you are getting these values, just let us know, then we will move to the next step. You understood how to get the D, TW, AF and TF and BF. Okay, I hope this is clear. Then we'll go to the next step. If anyone is having any difficulty in this, you can ask. You just have to take wave as 1400 by 8 mm and flange as 450 by 35 mm. Is this fine? Okay, then we will go to the next step. After this, in the step 2, we have to determine the shear force, where in the tension field method, the nominal shear resistance Vn is given by Vn equals to Vtf. It is given in clause 8.4.2.2b in IS 800-2007. So Vtf is given by this formula, you can see, where Av, tau b and all these values are already mentioned in the code. So now we have to calculate VTF. First, for that, we have to calculate all the values which is required for this calculation. So in the next step, yeah, in the next step, we'll determine first what is the shear area, that is AV. So D, you know, TW, you know, you can calculate what is the shear area. Now just let us know after calculation what is the shear area you are getting here.
— 11,200 millimeter square.
Okay. Next, we have to go for buckling shear strength. So here you can assume C by D ratio as 1.4 and calculate the stiffener spacing. Whereas in this problem, stiffener spacing is already given in the question as 2000 mm. So here you can just take stiffener spacing as 2000 mm. Then you can perform several checks like D by TW. You already know D and TW, you can get the ratio, whether it is less than 200 epsilon and 345 epsilon. After that, you can also check what is C by D ratio. C is 2000 here and D is 1400. So you can calculate what is C by D ratio and check whether it is greater than or less than 1. So what is C by D ratio you are getting? C is the stiffener spacing and D is depth of web.
1.43.
Fine. So we can see here that C by D is greater than 1. So according to that, in IS 800, it is given what we can take as kV if C is greater than 1. So kV is 5.35 plus 4 by C by D whole square. So just calculate kV.
7.31.
Fine. After calculating kV, we will go for elastic critical shear stress. That is tau CRE. So kV, you know, pi square E, all the values you know. You can substitute and get what is tau CRE. Mu is nothing but Poisson's ratio, that is 0.3. D by TW, you know. So what is tau CRE?
$43.14.
Yeah, Newton per mm square. This is critical shear stress, therefore it is in Newton per mm square. So in the next step, we have to calculate non-dimensional wave slenderness ratio for shear buckling stress. That is lambda W is given by root of FYW by root 3 tau CRE. So substitute the values here. YW is 250 and tau CR you just calculate it and see whether it is greater than or less than 1.2. Fine. Then after this, we will go for shear stress corresponding to the buckling. So here lambda W is greater than 1.2. Therefore, you can calculate from IS 800 2007 tau B as FYW by root 3 lambda W square. So lambda W you have calculated, FYW is 250. You can calculate tau B, that is the buckling shear strength. So what is the buckling shear strength value we are getting?
43.1.
Fine. Next, we'll go to the next step, that is determine the width of the tension field. So for that, first we'll calculate the inclination of the tension field, that is phi equals to tan inverse of d by c. Do you know depth of web? C is the spacing. You will calculate what is phi. After that, you can calculate what is actual force in the flange due to overall bending. First, you just let me know what is the phi value. Okay, fine. Now calculate NF, that is actual force in the flange. MZ is already given in the problem, and HF is the center to center distance of the flanges, that is 1435. You can go to the first page and see HF is given in the first figure, that is 1435. So by that you can calculate what is the actual force in the flange, that is NF. What is the value?
3.48.
3.48 unit.
Newton per millimeter square.
Okay, so mz in the unit of 5000 into 10 power 3 and hf is 1435. So mz unit is kilonewton meter.
Ma'am, it will be Newton only, no?
Yes,
So it will be
it's a force,
kilonewton.
it's Newton.
So Newton or kilonewton? What is the value you are getting?
3484.32 kilonewton.
Fine, fantastic. So after that, we will go for reduced plastic moment of flange plate, that is MFR. Here, you can substitute all the values you have calculated, and we have here and here. So BF, you know, that is width of flange. TF is thickness of flange. FYF is 250 MPa. NF you have just calculated. BF you know, TF you know, FYF is 250 again, and gamma M naught is 1.1. So substituting all the values, you will get what is the value of MFR. Anyone calculated MFR? Anyone calculated the value of MFR? So here BF is 450 mm. We have
Ma'am, 1808 kilonewton.
meter mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So after we have MFR, make sure all the units are uniform. There, after calculating MFR, we will go for S. That is 2 by sine phi MFR by Fy TW. So MFR you have calculated, it should be in Newton mm. Fyw is 250 Newton per mm square, and TW is depth of is thickness of web. So whole power 0.5 into 2 by sine phi, we will get S. So here S is anchorage length of tension field, which is SC or ST along compression or tension of the flange. Here SC and ST is same, that is S. So you can calculate, and let us know what is the value of S. So anyone calculated the value of S? So MFR is 1.809 or something, whatever you calculated, into 10 power 6 Newton mm by 250 into 8 power 0.5. You have already calculated, anyone? You will get S in units of mm.
Ma'am, 67 mm.
Okay, what are the values you have taken?
Ma'am, MFR is 1808 into 10 power 3, and FY is 250, and TW is 35.
TW is 35.
8.
Okay, so here TW we have as 8 mm.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, is it 104.86?
Yes, fine. So after you get S value, you have to check whether it is less than the spacing, that is C. So it is less, right? So next we will go for width of tension field, that is WTF equals to D cos phi minus C minus SC minus ST sin phi. So you can substitute the values here. Here ST and S is same. You can substitute all the values and see what WTF you are getting.
We have
Ma'am,
already
120
sent the
mm.
tutorial, right? So you can open that and you can see what is DC, everything in the first step.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yeah.
here SC and STR?
Same as 104.86 you have got.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Substitute the values and see what is WTF. D is depth of wave. C is 2000 already given in the problem.
Ma'am, 120 mm.
Fine. So after we have the width of the tension field, we'll go for the next term, that is TW. So already we know width of wave. So we will go to the next term. Meenakshi.
Yeah. 1 second.
Okay. So next term is yield strength of tension field. For that, you have to first calculate psi, 1.5 tau b sine 25. Tau b you have already calculated, phi already you know, so you'll be able to calculate psi. Then we will calculate the yield strength of tension field, that is Fv equals to Fyw square minus 3 tau b square plus psi square whole power 0.5 minus psi. So you can calculate both the values and let us know what the values you are getting. Tau b, someone said it is 43.1, and phi someone said as 35 degree. So I think all the values are clear. After that, you just substitute it in Fv equation. What is psi?
60.75.
Fantastic. So next, find what is Fv. Fv is the yield strength of tension field. Anyone calculate it?
185.4.
185.
196.
Okay, so according to psi, phi, I think it will vary. So when I calculated, it is around 185 point something. You can recheck your calculation and you can see what the values you're getting. So after you have all the values A, V, tau B, then WTF, tau W, FV, you can substitute it here and find out what is VTF. There is shear force that can be carried by the web. So calculate it and let us know what is the VTF value.
Ma'am, what was the
Yeah.
value of WTF?
Yeah, it is 120 point something. Someone calculated.
I got around 119.
128.
119 is also fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So here AB is 1400 into 8. Tau B is someone calculated as 43.1. Then after 0.9, WTF is 119 or 120 on something. Then TW is 8. Then FV also you have calculated 185 point something or 184 point something. Phi is 35 degree. So we can substitute here and find out what is VTF.
575.08 kilonewton.
Okay, fine.
Ma'am,
So
I got
after
4,925 kilo.
I think there is some unit changes required. You can just recheck it. It will not be that high. You can just recheck it. And as you have understood what is the procedure, you can always calculate it again and check what is the value. So after we have understood how to get VTF, we will see how to determine VP, that is AVFYW by root 3. AV is shear area and FYW is 250. So divided by partial safety factor, that is gamma m naught, you will get the design shear force, that is VD, and then you can check whether your VTF is less than or equals to VD or not. So AV, you know, shear area you have already calculated, 1400 into 8. FYW is 250 by root 3 into 1.1 Newton divided by 10 power 3 will give you in kilonewton.
One 1469.62 kilonewton.
Okay, fine.
So
After
everybody is fine with
this,
it?
we'll go to the next problem. Yeah, Meenakshi.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can ask in this question. Otherwise, we'll move to the next question. So everybody understood? Okay. So now we'll move to the next question. So here in the next question, we'll see about that a column of ISHP 350 at rate 661.2 Newton per meter carries an axial compressive factor load of 1700 kilonewton. They're asking to design a suitable bolted gusset base and it is resting on a M15 grade concrete pedestal. They're asking to use 24 diameter bolts of grade 4.6 for making the connections. So in the first step, we'll write down what are the given details. So we know for FE 410 what is FU and FY, 410 MPa and 250 MPa. So since the grade of the concrete they have given as M15, the bearing strength of the concrete is given as 0.45 times FCK, which is nothing but 0.45 into 15. So it will be around, so you just calculate and tell me. 0.45 into 15.
6.75, ma'am.
Yeah, 6.75 Newton per mm square. So since the column is given as ISHP 350, so we'll write down what are the properties of the section, the depth, width of the flange, thickness of web, all the things. Since the diameter bolts they have given as a 24, so the diameter of the hole will be 24 plus 2, 26 mm. We have already seen all these things in the first tutorial itself. We know how to calculate A and B for a 24 diameter bolt, and pitch 2.5 times of D, and E 1.5 times of D naught, assuming that whether it is a handmade or the mission cut, everything. So once we'll write down all the details, we'll go for the next step. So the most important thing in this is we have to find out what is the dimension of the gusset base we are providing. So first we have to calculate what is the required area of the base plate. We all know once we need area, we have to do like a force divided by the stress. Similarly, here we know the factored load and we know the bearing strength of the concrete. So just substitute it and calculate what is the required area of the base plate. The factored load is 1700 kilonewton and the bearing strength of concrete is 0.45 times of the 15. So let me know what is the required area of the base plate.
$251.85.
251.85. Is it mm square or into something? You have to take load as kilonewton, no? So if you take Newton, you will get the into 10 cube.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it is 251.85 into 10 cube mm square. So once we know the total area, we'll find out what are the dimensions required. So since it's a gusset base, we are providing some angle on it. We are assuming that the gusset angle as ISA 150 by 115 by 12 mm, and assuming the thickness of the gusset plate as 16 mm. You can take whatever may be the angle, whether it is an equal or unequal. Based on that, we'll calculate what are the dimensions of the base plate. So here I am assuming that ISA 150 by 115 by 12 mm one. So here you can see, you know the configuration, how that base plate looks like. So here is the angle. Here the one will be the gusset base. So you need to find out what is the width required. So for that we know the column width as 350. We know that there are two angles of length. The resting length will be 115 and this side will be 150. So 2 times of 115 plus 2 times of this plate thickness plus the column width will give the total width of the base plate. So you let me know what is the width of the base plate you got.
Six one two mm.
Yes, it is 6112. Everybody got that 6112 mm?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So once we know the width, we'll calculate what is the length of the base plate. So that will be area divided by width. See here we got 612 mm. We are rounding it off as a 620 mm. So the total area divided by the 620 mm will give the length of the base plate. You tell me what is the length of the base plate.
406 millimeters.
406. Yes, right. So here to know the projection of base plate, this value, this will be there, no? So you can able to see in the figure, right? I am showing this projections beyond this angle. What is that value we have to calculate? You know that the total length we have provided as 620, but what is the value we got it as 612? So what is this value? You tell me. Each side, how much the projection will be beyond this angle?
4.
Yes, there will be 4 mm. That is nothing but x here. So once you know x, it will be helpful in finding out what is the moment acting at the base of the angle. So in the next step, we are going to see what is the check for bearing pressure of concrete. So you know that area provided, right? It will be around 4, you got length as 410. So around 406, you can take it as 410 mm. So the area provided will be width into length. You calculate 1700 kilonewton divided by the area provided, whether it is less than the P by A required or not. Take length as the 410 mm and width as 620 mm. What is the bearing pressure of concrete you obtained?
Six 6.687.
Yes. So the P by A required, it is already we have known it is 0.45 times of 15, right? So it will be 6.75. So the 6.68 is less than 6.75, so it is fine. So now we'll move to the next step, thickness of base plate. So everybody got P by A provided as 6.68.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So now we'll move to the next step. We'll determine what is the thickness of the base plate. So here, this part will act as a cantilever, the length of the base plate. So we have to calculate what is the moment acting at this x comma x axis. So that this will be the distance, which is nothing but the C1. You calculate C1, which is nothing but, here this is total 115 mm, right? So we have to neglect this angle thickness. So this total 115 plus this projection is 4 mm minus this angle thickness will get the C1. So you tell me what is the value of C1?
One or 3 millimeters.
103. X as we got 4, no?
107.
Okay. If you have considered 12 mm means you will get the 107 mm.
107.
Okay. So once you know the C1, so you have to calculate the maximum moment. Since it is acting as a cantilever, you can calculate, you know all the moment, right? WL square by 2. So since it will act as a uniform loading, so it will be WL1 square by 2. So W into C1 square by 2 you can calculate. So you tell me what is the maximum moment you obtained. You know already W have calculated in step 4. C1 you know. Calculated?
38.283.
Yes. Units you have to mention. Kilonewton mm.
Kilonewton mm.
Yes. So once we know the moment, we have to find out the thickness. So it should be equated to the moment capacity of the base plate and the leg combined, which is given as 1.2 times of Fy Zd by gamma m naught. So once you substitute the values for Md, you will get Md as 45.45 T square. Since we know that Fi as 250, gamma m naught as 1.1, and Zi you know it is Bd cube by 12 divided by d by 2. So it will be T square by 6. So you will calculate. So what is the T? This T corresponds to the base plate plus angle leg. So once you, if you want the thickness of the base plate, that thickness should be subtracted from the angle thickness. Here I have considered 15. So initially it was 12, no? So you can take it that as 12, T minus 12 itself. You understood that how to calculate what is the thickness of base plate? Got it? You know mx, that should be equated to the 45.45 T square. From that you will get the TB. Or at least tell what is the total T you got. You guys are there?
29 mm.
Yeah. So you tell me what is the TB now? 29 minus 12, which will be 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So everybody understood how to calculate the thickness of the base plate? First, you have to find out the moment acting at x-axis and then you have to equate it to the moment capacity of the base plate and angle leg combined. So from that you will get the total thickness of the base plate and angle leg, and then from that you have to neglect the thickness of the angle leg. So everybody got the base plate thickness as 17 mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so once we find out what are the dimensions like area, width, length and thickness, we'll find out what are the connections, like how many bolts we have to provide, everything. So you already know how to find out the strength of the bolt in shear and bearing, right? You start calculating strength of bolt in shear and bearing. You know the diameter of the hole, you know A and B, you know diameter of the bolt, bolt hole, pitch, everything. So you find out what is the strength of the bolt in bearing and shear. I think everybody became familiar with those equations now, because in every designs we are making connection designs. So it will be easy to remember that formula, or else you can just go through the code and you can calculate.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
while calculating the bearing strength, should we take the thickness as 12 or 17?
It is not the gusset base we are taking. No, we have to take the thickness of the base plate, 17 mm only.
Okay, ma'am.
We are designing the connection only for the gusset base. So whatever the properties of the gusset base we have calculated, those things only we have to consider while making the connection design.
Okay, ma'am.
So as you already know how to calculate the strength of bolt in shear and bearing, I'll explain that what is the next steps, because we have one more question we have to see. So once you know the strength of bolt, we'll calculate number of bolts. Since the connections will get a transfer of 50% load to the connections, so 50% load will calculate. So the total 50% of the factored load, that means 0.5 times of 1700 divided by the strength of the bolt, you will get the number of bolts. Once you know the number of bolts, we'll arrange in this pattern, you can see in the figure. So once you arrange it based on the pitch and edge distance, whatever we have discussed in the first step, so we can calculate the height of the gusset plate using this equation. Since there are two bolts, we'll get the two edge distances. So this will be 2 times of E, 2 times of 39 plus P will be 60. So 150 plus that value will get the height of the gusset plate. So once you calculate the design part, we have to check whether the gusset plate compression edge is under buckling or not. For that, you have to check whether S naught is greater than or equal to 13.66 times of epsilon into Tg. Tg is nothing but the gusset plate thickness. Epsilon is nothing but square root of 250 by Fy, which is the value 1. So once you calculate, you will get 217.66 mm. So you have to calculate S naught. S naught is nothing but the slant edge of the outstand. Here you can see this is S naught. So you know this value. This is 410 minus this value 250 divided by 2. You will get the this side value, this side value. So this side square plus this side square will give you the this one. This side square we can take it as 2 times of edge distance plus 60. So the total will be S naught is square root of 80 square plus 60 plus 2 times of 39 square, which will be less than 217 or not, 6 or not, you have to check. So you understood the procedure. This is the final check we have to do once we complete that connection design. If yes, we'll move to the next question. So shall we move to the next question? You understood this question, how to design it, finding the width,
Yes,
length,
ma'am.
connections, everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we'll move to the next question. So this question will simply explain the procedure. So you solve it in home and you send the tutorial answers by tomorrow. Okay, Rahnabi?
Yes. Next slide.
Yeah, I have given. Got it?
No.
Now?
Yeah. Yes. Now, in the next problem, you have to check the adequacy of a beam column ISHB 450 for the factored loads as shown in this figure. The column is part of a non-sway frame with bottom end hinged. The effective length of the member is 3.5 meter about both the axes, and steel is of grade Fe 410. So first we have to write down all the given details. That is, for Fe 410, grade of steel is 250 MPa. Partial safety of factor is gamma m naught, imperfection factor, and all the relevant properties of ISHB 450. After that, you can calculate depth of web, that is D, and plastic section modulus Z, PZ, ZPY, and elastic section modulus ZEZ, and also the moment of inertia IZ and IY. After that, we'll calculate what is the total factored axial load passing through the CG of the column. That is the total force we will get by adding up. Next, we have to find out the maximum bending moments at both major and minor axes. Then we have to classify the section as we have already done multiple times. That epsilon we know, root over 250 by Fy. B by TF and D by TW criteria will give us the section class. After that, we will go for the check of design compressive strength, that is ND as AG, Fy by gamma m naught. AG is already given in the problem. Fy and gamma m naught, if we substitute, we will get ND. After that, we will go for check of design bending strength, that is MDZ and MDY and major and minor axis. Beta B you will know according to the class section. ZPZ and ZPY you can already calculate. Fy and gamma m naught. So after that you will get MDZ and MDY. After that we will go for check for local capacity of section. That is My by MNDY power alpha 1 plus Mz by MNDZ power alpha 2 less than equals to 1. For that, MNDZ is given by this formula and MDY is also given. So here N is N by ND, that is capital N by capital ND. So after calculating N and ND, you can find out small n and substitute here and find out MNDZ and MNDY, and again substituting in this formula, you can get whether it is satisfying the check or not. So next step, Meenakshi will tell.
Yeah, so you have seen the local capacity check. We'll go for whether the member is resisting in the buckling in compression or not. First, you have to find out the slenderness ratio in the Y and Z axis. We all know that KL by R. Here, the effective length is same in both the axes. Only the RY and RZ change. So lambda Y and lambda Z you will calculate. Once you know lambda Y, lambda Z, you will know FCD. From that, you can calculate the design compressive strength. So once you complete this check, you have to go and check for the buckling resistance in bending. You have already seen how we calculate this bending strength in the previous tutorial while we are calculating for the laterally supported beam. So from the similar procedure you can follow to calculate this. So once you complete this, we have to again check the overall member whether it is resisting the a combined bending and axial compression or not. So for that, the code has given these two formulas. You all know that P is the given factor loads, My and Mz are also the given factored moments. Md is the design bending strength you have calculated in step 6. PDZ, PDY, PDY, these all the things are the design strengths you have calculated in the previous steps. So once you substitute, you will get here the CMY, CMZ. These are the some factors, equivalent uniform moment factors they have given in table 18. Based on the shape of the moment diagram, these values you can get. So from the table 1, the first row itself, you will get CMZ as 0.6 plus zero point 0.4 times phi z for this kind of moment diagram. So once you know what is CMZ, so you can similarly you can calculate CMY, CMLT, all the things you substitute here and check whether these two conditions are satisfying or not. So if this two conditions are satisfying, it means that the overall member is safe against all these bendings and axial compressions. So okay, all the factors that ky, kz, everything is clearly given. What are the relevant terms and all in the code book? You can directly see, substitute, and you can again substitute in these two conditions, and you can check. So there is nothing difficult in finding out these factors. They are straightforward. You can see it and you can find it out. So with this, our tutorial ends. Wait, I'll stop the screen. Yeah.